Is 2026 going to be the year when Iceland finally joins the European Union? For decades now, and since the beginning of the organization, Iceland has decided to stay out of the Union, and their population has been very much in support of that. However, recently, opinion polls showed to a growing number of people supporting membership to the EU, and recently it even hit 45% against only around 30 that were against it. Everybody else is still a little bit undecided. While these undecided could go either way and still make a majority of people that don't want to join the EU, the rise in public support means something. At the same time, you have sort of the perfect opportunity because you have governments and parties that are assuming a possibility of holding a new referendum to take advantage of this pro-EU momentum. So why is this happening now? Well, there's a number of reasons. First of all, Iceland isn't doing as well as it once was. We saw this a little bit in the 2008 crisis when suddenly people wanted to adopt the euro to fight the financial and economic instability that the country went through. And right now, as we're entering another period of a potential global crisis that might affect the country, the idea of belonging to a more robust economic union is a little appealing to some Icelanders. At the same time, there is the geopolitical aspect. The Arctic is becoming more and more a battleground of global interests. On one side, you have Russia building infrastructure on their northern coast. Simultaneously, China is exploring new trade routes through the Arctic Circle. And even the United States, the old ally of Europe, is seemingly turning their back on the continent, even making somewhat absurd pushes to establish a presence in the region, like their idea of potentially buying Greenland, Iceland's neighbor. All of this maybe makes Iceland feel a little bit isolated in a very troublesome region. And so the idea of being closer to Europe through the EU, again, is also appealing to them. Now, Iceland already has a lot of advantages in their relationship with the EU. They belong to the single market. They are part of the EEA and the Schengen area. You could say that they have most of the benefits and very few of the downsides. It's what Britain wanted to achieve when they had the Brexit idea, not understanding the obvious, which is they would never get such a good deal. And joining the EU now would mean significant changes for Iceland. They would have to choose whether they would keep their currency or join the euro. They would lose a little bit of control over their natural resources, namely fishing. And they would have to follow EU guidelines and policies in some areas. But all of this might be worth it if they gain that economic, financial, and most of all, geopolitical stability. Now, this doesn't mean that they're going to join right now, but the growth of support in these opinion polls really shows that it's most likely going to be a reality that they hold a new referendum on the topic. And if support keeps growing in the same way that it has, poll after poll, I think it's very likely that they will end up joining. And this kind of makes us think what the future of the EU might be in terms of membership. You have some key countries in Europe that never wanted to join, like Norway, Switzerland, and at the same time you have others that want to join but don't fulfill the requirements, like all of those Balkan countries. This is actually something very key here because Iceland would immediately meet all of those requirements. All they have to do is say they want to join, Europe would vote, and most likely they would be let in. So what do you think? Should Iceland join the EU or are they better at it on their own? Thank you so much for watching 5 Minutes to Explain. I'll see you next time with another quick topic.